Yeah.
Okay. Hello, y'all. I am known as Chef Regina in these streets. Um, we
In the
are
streets.
in the streets,
In
but
the
we
streets.
are multi-talented ladies here. So while uh, baking and teaching people how to cook is one of the things I do, I also with Origin Unlimited work with families to help them find their, especially the youth, to find their special sauce, to see what's unique about them, and to help them put some sweat equity in to actually planning the lives they want versus just saying, "Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that." We actually get down to the nitty gritty of some of the opportunities and possibilities they have for their future. I am grateful for the fact that I made it home to see my two of my babes that decided to come over and surprise us. Well, not a surprise exactly, but if there's any mothers or aunties or folks that cook, they always want to know what's for dinner, what you cooking, right? So I had to, go in there and whip something up because I was like, well, I don't smell nothing. I came in the door, nothing's on. So I had such. Look at here, y'all know when we cook on Sunday, we always cook enough. So I was able to go in there and whip something up, and I had a leftover from here. Look at, and now they eating. Everybody happy. So I can sit down and do the job. So I am grateful today. Okay, all right.
Nice, 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 nice. All
Nothing
right.
quality time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I'm happy that I made it here because I was like, well, one of them said they're getting ready to leave, and they just was happy that I was able to fix them a hot meal. But now I'm just playing.
Yeah.
I do
No, you're right.
it.
I would have been happy you were able to fix a hot meal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I get happy when I that's one of my happy places. So
Yeah. So let's get into the top. But you know what? I want to get into the topic because I think it's a good topic. So the topic is really talking about like just how friendships may shift, right, as we get older, whatever. But before we go there, has anyone watched Straw?
Yes.
Not yet.
I
All right.
haven't.
I
We
need
can't
to
talk about
prepare
it.
myself for it.
Yeah, yeah, you do need to prepare yourself for it, but we should, yeah, we definitely need to probably talk about it. But yeah,
But not
What is
yet.
it's
no,
called Straw?
Straw.
Yes.
Okay, no, I haven't.
Yeah, the new movie on is on Netflix with Taraji P Henson, Tiana Taylor, Sherry Shepherd,
That would
even
have been.
even Sinbad was in it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't
That's
know that was him until I'm like, that was him.
Yeah, but it was I was well, I had to I had to reach out to one of my god sisters and be like, "What's your rating?" Because she's usually the first one to watch anything that comes out. So
uh-huh.
so I'll ask her what's your rating before I before I look at it, and she was like, "I'll give it a 7." I said, "Okay." So I'll watch it, but I did. It was probably about a 7, 8, but it was good. So, but anyway, I digress. So let's talk about this topic: friendships. Let's discuss friendships. All right. I mean, for me, I have a bunch of different friend circles. So, what does like that look like for you guys? Like from over the years.
Well, I am a relator on the strengths
Mm.
assessment, meaning that I like a small group and we're usually tight knit and it's a very trustworthy tight circle. So I do have that, and that's kind of how I operate. I know you said you have multiple circles, and I do have circles of associates.
Mhm.
hmm
So depending on what the common thread is, but when you talk about friends, I don't have a large circle of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like I have so my HR circle started out as a professional group, but we're friends over the years. We've grown into friends, so we will visit each other from time to time. We try to throughout the year. Um, like they'll come here out. Like we're going to Florida in September, right? We'll touch down there, and then you guys all know my core, my
Yeah.
8 or 9 god sisters. So we do everything together. But I'm kind of like you. Like I am very I don't throw around the word like the individuals those groups. They're more like sisters, right? So I don't throw around the friend because some people will be like, "Oh, that's my friend," and I'm like, I've gotten better because I used to in my younger years. I'd be like, "Well, no, we're associates." Right. So then I realized as I got older, you don't really need to tell people that. that could hurt someone's feelings, right? But I do think yeah, not everybody, you have to earn that title, I feel like.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And friendships are relational, not transactional.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
if you know if you have more of a transactional engagement with someone continuously, is that a friend or is that
Yeah.
an? And it's okay for it to be one or the other, but we don't get that confused. If it's transactional all the time, then that's not a friendship. Because are we engaging outside of what I can do for you or what you can do for me?
Mm-hmm.
We talking about after that? Is there any other thing that binds us together except for the service that we offer each other or the goods or what have you? So yeah, I definitely know that friendship for me has to be relational.
Yeah.
If it's transactional, then it's okay. That's a colleague or that's a you
Mm.
know it,
That's not a friend.
that's not a friend. It's not a friend. Yeah.
Like how I even came up, how this topic even came up was because I was listening to Terry Vaughn. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if she's an actress, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she was talking about like Melinda Williams, who I think you guys know her. She was Bird and Soul Food.
Yes.
Yes.
So she was saying how they and she's done a lot of movies with Terry Vaughn's husband. Like I don't know what's the I forget what the series is, but it's like y'all know it's a Christmas series.
So
Like it's
of course, you've watched it.
so, so they have other movies that are not Christmas, but it's like, like a vacation one, a Christmas one, right?
Mhm.
Like Marry Me for Christmas, Baby for Christmas, right? Like that. So anyway, listen, y'all know I love Christmas movies. But anyway, so they're really good. She was saying how they're really good friends, but they don't talk all the time, right? And that identified me because that's me. Like I have like my core, we're really good. Like we have a group me chat group, we have a text chat group, we may chat there, but we could go like weeks or months without talking to each other, right? And but nobody gets upset. Right. I know people will get upset because they're like, oh, you didn't call me. And so I think as we get older, it's harder to navigate those relationships because everybody has something going on. Right. So yeah, but and I really don't like talking on the phone. Like I think
Me neither.
I think I'm probably a Gen Xer who's different from a lot of Gen Xers because I could have a whole conversation via text.
Oh, I
And
can't.
like
Yeah.
me,
Not yeah,
and
no.
that's the different thing about friend groups because I have friends who like to talk on the phone, so I have to make the time to do that. But then one of my god sisters, me and her could get in Facebook Messenger and we could have a whole conversation because she doesn't really like talking on the phone. I don't really like talking on the phone. We're the same sign, so we get each other. But yeah, so I think that's another thing is knowing your friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have several circle of friends, of really good friends. And the thing that sets that apart is that no one else can come in.
Yeah.
It's us. I have, of course, my wine group. We have developed a bond. And even when we branched off onto our own, even now, everybody has their friends outside of it, but no one can come in and be a part of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we talk almost every day, whether it's text or even from an IG chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not just about wine.
Mhm.
Right.
So we've become really good friends. Then I have some friends that I have from work, and this is from prior employment.
Mhm.
Same thing. We have our own little circle. We don't talk every day. A
Mhm.
couple of them are, maybe closer than, the rest of us are together, but we don't talk every day. And the same thing, no one else can come in. No, we're not adding anybody to our little circle. And then, I do have like one or two friends. I have one good, really, really good girlfriend that I met from one of my jobs. Um, but no one tops my very best friend, who has been my best friend since junior high school.
Mhm.
And she lives in North Carolina. So she's my best friend. No
Nice.
one else holds that title. And same thing, we can go months without talking to each other. And when we do, we're on the phone, just like we were back in our junior high school day, when we were on the phone for like 2 hours and there's only one phone in the house.
And there was no call waiting.
No call waiting, right? So and so we're on the phone for hours, catching up and just talking about things in general.
Mhm.
So um, that's where I am. And I'm fine with that because those groups of people are us. I have my college group of friends. We're a small circle. And again, no one comes in, nobody gets added to those groups. It's us.
I am so glad you said that because I thought it was just me and my friend, me and my core. Because we literally like it. Gotta if we're going on vacation and somebody's like, "Can we invite somebody?" It's like it got to be a vote.
Right,
We got to
right.
vote. You got and don't let them do something on that. Like I remember like years ago, somebody invited somebody outside the group. We all agreed she'd come, but when it came time, it was dinner. It was a vacation, and it came time to settle the bill, and she was trying. I was like, so we was like later. We was like, your friend can't come to dinner with us anymore, right? Because she don't upset the apple cart. Oh, I only had we just split the bill. We don't look at like we just like and like yeah, we might take into consideration if somebody really didn't eat or whatever, but if everybody had a meal, we splitting the bill.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
I had to adjust to that in North Carolina because they automatically bring you separate checks down here. But have any of you seen like a shift in relationships as you get older? With like with any of your friend circles or how I know as I was I know there are some relationships for me that are probably not as close as we used to be because we've
Mhm.
kind of grown in different directions,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I tell you, when I first be with my first child, I had a lot more friends because I was still flexing and moving and doing different stuff. But then after I had maybe the second or third one, it really became like, okay, I need to focus on my family and
Mhm.
stuff. So a lot of I do have some friends from church, like that's one of my friend circles, some of my church sisters and brothers. But like I had friends outside of that, and I guess it was because of doing similar activities like going to worship and just always doing different stuff, serving on different ministries together. So you do grow a bond with people in that way. So I have some that I do consider friends for like over 20 plus years. But not the whole church. There's just people that you connect with. So I do have that, and then I have friends that outside of that, some I met at church, but some of us just have things in common, you know, and we just all click. But we connect with each other. I think it's because of me that I have three friends that connect with each other, but we all have a lot of things in common. But some of my friends that I met at work when I was like fresh out of college and stuff, as I became more engaged with my children and family, my focus was on them. So to be transparent, I dropped the ball on some of those friendships because I was like, listen, it's I'm juggling 4 children, a whole
Mm,
marriage, a whole, and we were everywhere at church, trying to do this, be that, do that. So I was like, where am I going to focus my energy so I don't lose it? And and I have to say, along the way, there was some beautiful people, just amazing. And
mm,
I just stopped calling, or responded to the. It wasn't a text necessarily, but postcards. We actually sent postcards to each other, and
how long ago was that?
yeah, I know, right? And so it was that. So I can't say I regret, but I do miss some of the friendships that I had because
Mm,
they are beautiful people. Um, but now as I'm older, I'm actually more picky about
mm,
my friends because okay, so people like to say we got more years behind us than we do in front. I can't call it because I could live to be 114. Who's to say? But
mm,
anyway, but quality time and really being intentional with our time. So
mm,
I have to say, okay, if I'm supposed to be doing important stuff, the friends and people that I talk with, they gotta be, in that space of wanting to do something positive or doing that sort of thing.
mm,
If just chewing the stuff and stuff over stuff that I really don't care about, then I can't. I can't. If look, we can't go over the last episode of SVU Law Order 5 times. I already know that episode by heart. I can't have you taking my extra time talk about that. So it's just now I'm more choosy because I'm like, okay, am I stealing from someone else if I'm sitting with you and the conversation is really not productive and we're just kind of talking about the weather? Like, really? No, I'm not doing that.
mm,
So there are some people that I really have beautiful relationships with. I love
mm,
them more like sisters than friends for the things that we shared and over the years and whatnot.
mm,
But I'm very selective about who I want to invite in as a friend. So I
mm,
think the shifts is that we've all grown older. A lot of us now are our children are grown. So like we're rediscovering ourselves.
mm,
So we understood when we didn't have as much time like we used to because we were juggling, family and motherhood and all of that.
mm,
So, so we have those things in common as well. But I think I'm a little more choosy now, and when I see certain character traits in a person, I'm like, yeah, I'm not. You can't be my friend. So I was, sometimes how some people you be like, okay, right now they're cool people. Maybe I could see rocking with them as a friend. But then they do the thing that you will not be willing to tolerate on a regular basis, and you like, you know what? We cool, but we
yeah,
gonna be cool. Cause what I'm not fitting to do,
mhm,
tolerate stuff I don't have to tolerate, and so I don't cross the line and say something out of pocket. We talking right? We being real. I will. We could be okay.
is this Pookie coming up?
Pookie was going to, but I told her to chill.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I told her to chill.
I mean,
And
yeah.
but that's where I am now. I love the friends that I have, and I miss some of the ones over the years that we didn't stay in touch with because they were beautiful folks. But I also know I made the right choice in focusing on my family, so I don't regret that. But knowing what I know now and having the tools that I have now to better handle and balance my family time and friendship time, I would have done some things different. But I don't regret the times that I spent raising my children because that was the best thing I could do as a mom and as a wife and all that kind of stuff.
I will honestly say that I find new friendships over like overwhelming. Like I literally am good with the friends that I have, but people tend to navigate towards me, and so it can become really overwhelming for me
Hmm.
because especially which is why I love my core groups and the circles like Sheila, like how Sheila has I have the different circles because there's no expectation, right, for me to um always be present. Like they get it, right? Like we may
Yeah.
not talk all the time, and there's nobody that's gonna get angry or upset
Right.
about that, right? Like, and like I will honestly tell you, one of my girlfriends that I went to junior high, we were in junior high school together. Like we were thick as thieves. Like we would call each other, like she, like you said, on the phone, right? Talk for hours. We would coordinate what we're wearing to school. Wear your this color leaves with this shirt, right? All of that. And the last time I saw her was when she got married, like years ago. And we reconnected on Facebook after like years of not talking after her wedding, and not because anything happened, right? She probably was like you. She got married, started a family. And I remember us reconnecting on Facebook, made plans to go to dinner. We met up for dinner in Manhattan, sat down. You would have thought we saw each other yesterday. And those are the type of people that, for me, are
Yeah.
friends, right? Like
Yeah.
we cannot talk for a long time, but when we connect, it's like we were just talking to each other the day before. What about you, Regina? Because you always have a story.
They're kind of like Sheila. I have a lot of circles, but I'm the lonely person. Well, the one I just come by myself in the circle and I leave by myself. So, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like at the conference that we danced at, they said, invite your family and friends. I was the only one that didn't have any.
Okay. But because you stay busy.
I do, but I'd stay busy by myself.
But talk about that. So like, because you have friends,
Hmm.
right? But you travel with people. So like, how does that work?
Um, I tend to get along with people well. Like my last with the organization I'm in, and we split the room. Well, I got a roommate. I didn't really know this sister, and I was like, wow, I hope I get along with her. And we did, and we kind of learned each other and got to know each other. I wouldn't say we were friends, we're sisters, but um, now we need to go on another leadership trip. And she's like, Romy. So it's like that. And then I do have friends. My best friend from junior high lives in California. And we don't speak for months and months and months. And when we pick up on a phone and talk, it's like we saw each other yesterday. It's just like Sheila. And we catch up, it's like 2 hours, and then we don't speak for months and months and months again. And that is like my true best friend. And like Sheila said, no one can take that spot. That's my true best friend from seventh grade. We have been friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then
So,
I just have different circles. I have my girl track
oh
sister
yeah,
friends. I have my ministry, dance ministry friends. I have this circle of friends that I met on Meetup when I first moved here. I didn't have any friends, so I just looked for groups that I like, and that's how I found kind of like a core group of ladies, and then my church e group friends, and we all like the ones here. We we do things out, and we don't talk on the phone all the time. Like we do outings.
yeah. That's the thing for me. Like, I need people to understand me. Like, you gotta get me. Not for real, because my person my personality is like I'm giving or whatever, but I really am an introverted extrovert. So I I love people, but like I was saying to someone, for me to talk a lot is something I'm passionate about. Otherwise, I'm gonna be really like listening and observing. But I don't know. It's just like the energy. It's hard getting to know new people because they not everybody understands your quirks. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like my god sisters that I hang out with, like they know me, right? So they know
Right.
my quirks, they know my silly side, they know when I'm like if I go off on my own, right? That I am, it's nothing personal, right? But not everybody gets that. Like I have one friend, like she knows, like because right now, like we all got a lot going on. I'm sure you girls too. You're busy. One of my friends will text me. She'll be like, "Hey, give me some dates when you're available, so we can set up time to talk." Right.
Mhm.
So there's no shade. There's no um, anyone being upset about stuff. So having said that, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fallouts.
Mm.
Mm.
The relationships that don't stand the test of time. Is that the saying?
Well, yeah. Well, I can't say I've ever had a fallout. We just don't talk. I mean, like if we're not reaching out to each other on a regular basis, whether that basis is every day or every week or every couple of months, then we both get it. It's good. I'm not upset with them, and they're not upset with me. You know, back in the day, we like, why you not my friend? Like, what's up? We okay, y'all. I guess a little Pookie is, expect a little Pookie. So, it, earlier on, growing up, hey, what's up? And you get all stressed about why a person is not talking to you. Did I do something? Did I say something? Did she see me somewhere and I didn't speak? Like, what's up? Now I haven't had a fallout. It's just like either we are in or we not. Maybe it's because I'm Jim Crack Corn. I can't say I don't care. I care if you
Can't say
care
you
about me. Jim Crack Corn, I don't care. So if we haven't made a connection on both parts, then it's equally understandable that we're not connected. We may not
do.
know the reason why. I don't have an angst about it because if it's someone that's really important to me, I'm going to reach out, be like, "Hey, I
Mhm.
haven't heard from you in a while. You okay?" But if we contacted each other via text, or we drop a line at each other, or we may say something in Messenger, or what have you, then I know we're good. Other
Mhm.
than that, I don't have time for fallouts like that. So I just don't. Like, are you kidding me right now? I don't have that much energy to have a fallout with
Mhm.
somebody. If you grown and that's what you want to do and be uptight, then it's best for us to not be cool anyway. Cause that's kind of, come on. Like, we above 50, boo boo. I don't got time for that today. Fallout. No,
But
you.
you have some women that are like, I probably won't even notice it, but you do have people that happens to. So Netta,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the because I think I'm a relator too. I don't remember, right? Like how those strengths kind of play into relationships.
Well, it plays into every relationship because it's who you are. So there are four dominant domains. There's relationship building, strategic thinking, influencing, and executing. So knowing yourself and knowing your friends impacts how you relate to each other.
Mm.
So a relationship builder, it's important to know that there's a connection.
Mm.
A relationship builder is going to be concerned that if there was a connection and it seems like there's a break in that connection, they're going to want to talk about that.
Mhm.
Um, you have strategic thinkers who need their quiet time because they're in their thoughts a lot and they're not necessarily picking up on the social cues that maybe we haven't spoken, or we're sitting together and you're quiet, so you just kind of have to know the person that you're connecting with. Executors, those are the people who make friends while they're doing something.
Mhm.
So that
Mm.
kind of comes back to the circle.
Yep.
We're doing this thing together. That's what connects us. So
Mhm.
that's the executor. And the influence is the big personality usually. The person who is like getting everybody together and this is what we're doing and you should be doing, they're just that person. And you can probably think of an individual under each of those categories, not knowing that that's who they are. So, definitely, strengths play a huge role in absolutely every relationship. Knowing that somebody needs time to themselves and
Mm-hmm.
not being offended by that, knowing that when you go somewhere with this particular person, the door is open to anybody who shows up. Everybody can come. Knowing that, or
Yeah.
also knowing that the person like me, no, open the door for who? Wait, who is that? I don't. So you kind of just need to know that about each other. And to Gina's point, talking about falling out, there's not necessarily falling out, but when somebody is important to me and I see a shift, I want to have a conversation
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of assumption.
Yeah.
We both grown, we know something shifted. And
Mm-hmm.
again, speaking to strengths, there's going to be that person that's going to initiate that conversation, and there's going to be that person that may never say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Again, knowing who you are, how you operate, what your expectations are, I think that's important to
Yeah.
share amongst each other. If you have an expectation, you need to express that. Otherwise, people can't read your mind.
Right.
So it's just all of this is very important. I have a question for the group that has been kind of going around in my brain is, did you see anything change during the shutdown between you and those that you were once close to? Did you see some people you grew closer to and some just kind of fell off? Did you see any change since 2020 in your some of your
You mean
connections?
you mean during COVID?
Yes.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the, especially for me, because I lived by myself, right? And so um I think it was pretty cool because my core, like we made time to do Zoom calls, right? And so I think that was cool. Like me and it's like not probably about 8, 9 of us. We were intentional about connecting, right, via Zoom. I found that I talked more to like my nieces and nephews. They text me, but I found like I was having more phone conversations with some of my nieces and nephews, right? Because um, so that was pretty cool. But I don't know if it was like where I found anything like where the dynamic changed much, other than I just thought that it was pretty cool that those Zoom calls that started during COVID, it's kind of great because when I moved down here, right, it's something that every now and then we do. Me and my guy, like we'll be like, let's hop on a Zoom to plan a vacation or a trip or just to talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I think for me it was one of the great things about COVID because I don't know about anybody else, but living alone, it was, it's like other than work, it was like you just there by yourself, right? And after a while, you like, okay, what am I doing now? So, but I think that was a good change. And connecting with friends that I probably didn't talk to as much as I spoke to more than I would normally speak to them, right? Because I think we spend a lot of time checking up on people to make sure they were all right, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to say, echo what you said, Theo, that um, I call people that I didn't get a chance to speak to, or I was concerned about their, are you okay and stuff. So that it was a different level of connectivity.
mhm,
Not being busy, I had time to think about people, and not that I didn't think about them before, but it was like, well, I'm not running, right? I'm not back and forth. I'm not at work right now. I'm at home. Let me call. We haven't talked in a little while. Let me find out if everything good. Are they okay and stuff? And then, I think for some of my friendships, it strengthened our friendships.
mhm.
And then we also did a couple of Zoom calls as well, celebrating each other's, birthdays and whatnot because
Yeah.
we could. do it together. So the Zoom calls helped out with that as well. And even some of my church friends, we would call each other, "Hey, you okay? You good? Is everything okay?" And so I think one of the beautiful things that happened during the pandemic was, yeah, I definitely reached out, and we reached out to each other um, to see how we were doing, what's going on, and just really having that space to catch up without saying, "Okay, I gotta rush off the phone because I'm going somewhere," because we weren't going anywhere. So
Yeah.
I think that in a way helped strengthen some of my friendships and family ships.
Mm-hmm.
Out checking my cousin because she worked in the hospital. I was always calling her to see if she was okay, and I consider her my big sister, so just really kind of checking to make sure she was good and stuff like that, and just having that opportunity to catch up and see how she was doing. It things like that I wasn't able to do as much because I was either working or looking for work or you know that kind of thing. So just having that pause
Yeah.
helped me connect with the people that I really missed and cared about. And
Yeah.
I'm still in touch with them because of that, because now we got shared memories together. We talk about those different conversations and that stuff. So I appreciated the pandemic for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, for me, there wasn't much of a change because even within my groups, because we were communicating by text anyway.
Mm.
So that didn't stop. That is actually when I became a part of the wine group. I was the last person to actually join.
Mm.
So that was my intro into the wine our wine group, and then we just strengthened after that because we were also communicating electronically. All my other groups, now my best friend, she still had to go into the office. She
Mm.
for the
Mm.
state, so she was still going into the office. So the dynamics of our communication didn't change then. And she doesn't stay up late, so if I don't catch her by 8 o'clock, I'm not going to talk to her. That held true then and it holds true now. So
Yeah.
um so luckily, I mean, I was, even with my family, except for my dad, who did not do anything electronic. We talked a little bit more frequently because he was concerned about what was going on up here in the
Mm.
Northeast. So he wanted to always make sure that we were okay. And he was fine because he stayed indoors. He was like, I'm just not going out at all. And but other than that, in terms of, keeping in touch with my friends, it just stayed the way that it normally does.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm the same with Sheila. I didn't see that much of a change. I spent more, I guess, quiet time,
Mm.
not being busy. You couldn't really do anything. I didn't really see that much of a change or shift in anything.
Mm.
That's interesting. I guess I'm the odd man out.
What? So you saw a change?
I did. The friend group that I had pre-COVID, we aren't as close anymore.
Oh.
No.
Um, yeah, it's very disheartening, and it seems like it's a lot of work to get everybody to communicate again.
Mm.
Not that we don't care about each other, but the communication shifted.
Mm.
And I think a lot of it had to do with several of us had family members whose care required our attention more during COVID.
Mm.
Mm,
Okay.
And so when we were focused on those family members, it's like you only have so much bandwidth.
Mm.
And it just kind of it seems like we're struggling to get that back.
Mm.
Um, and partly because some of us are still caregivers.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's another thing that comes into play with our age group.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
dynamic shift with what your responsibilities are. We were worried about kids and homes and marriages. And, now we're worried about parents and older aunts and uncles, and so
Yes.
dynamic as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, my now I will tell you that another thing that happened, there was a positive to it. I gained, more individuals that I communicated with because
Mm.
so the ones that I thought going into COVID we would be, hey, it wasn't that, but then that same, because I do have that need for connection as a relationship builder.
Yeah.
There were others who came into my life during that time.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like for me, like I was still living, I was still in Jersey, of course, and my neighbor and I would like meet in the hallway, right? And so we became closer, during COVID, and also because she's older than me, but if I was gonna run out to the store, I would be like, okay, what do you need, right? And because if she didn't feel too comfortable going out, but just even sometimes, because she lived alone, I lived alone, just to be in the hallway, right, without mask on, and just to have a conversation, right, was pretty cool. So I think for me, I was probably like I said to my aunt, like at first. I said to my aunt, I said at first, when they announced when my job was like stay home, I was like, what do you mean? Because I was one of those people that thought it was gonna be a week and we'd be back, right? Because like it's funny because I like you, I'm a relator, right? So and because of the work I do, so I was like, wow, I'm gonna have to be home, right? And at first I was like, man, I don't want to be home. But then I was like, this is not bad, right? Because one, it also, I felt like I was saying to my aunt, I felt like it actually gave me an opportunity to, like Regina said, to be quiet, to be in those spaces of just being quiet. But
Mhm.
then also caught up with like I think one of you said, caught up with cousins that I normally didn't talk to a lot, right? And I think it was around the time, was it around the time we elected the Orange Man the first time? I don't even remember. But because I remember talking to one of my cousins from Canada, right? And saying such and such and such president. And she was like, that's not my president. And I was like, oh, I forgot you in Canada, right? But I think that's a good question, because I wonder how many people had to deal with the shift in dynamics. I think for me, one of the things that was, I don't want to say was troubling, that was on my mind were the best domestic violence individuals, right? Because in my mind, I was like thinking, oh my God, these are people that their escape was being able to go somewhere. Now
Right.
you're home all the time with this individual who might be abusive, right? And so I don't know why that was something that really troubled me, right? Um, just thinking about individuals who in that instance might be dealing with those stuff. But it's interesting. I do think some friend groups got strengthened, but I'm sure there are probably some that, like you, Netta, I may not have even realized it, that are not as strong as they used to be, right? But when you were talking about the strengths, I found that interesting, because I was like, you know what? I feel like there are times when we show up as one, more than one of those areas,
For
right?
sure. Most people have two dominant domains.
Mhm.
Most people do. There are those who are really strong in just one, but some people can have one, two, or three. Just depends on the person. They can weave in and out of those overarching themes. But yeah, strengths, very interesting piece. I have another question.
Mm.
Um, I didn't hear from everybody. We don't want to hog the conversation for those who didn't get a chance to share that part.
No, I think we all went.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So the next question that comes to mind is availability versus presence.
Uh,
Oh.
What
That's
are your
so
good.
thoughts surrounding that?
that's a good question because I will honestly say I think it's really important to know your, for lack of a better word, love language of your friends, right? Because I will say I have a, and I was actually talking to her before I got on this call, but I have a friend that we've been friends for, oh my God, I want to say over 20 years. Like we met at Girl Scouts of the USA, my first job out of undergraduate school. And she would tell you that I didn't want to be her friend. And I was like, that's not the case. That's not the truth. But, takes me a little bit to warm up to people. But anyway, so we became like the best of friends, right? And so it's funny because she is that person that we used to talk, I want to say like every week, probably, right? And then as we got older and things like it died down. And like for me, because I'm not a really phone talker, like I can do it, but I'm not, right? And I want to say a few months ago, or maybe it was last year, I remember her saying we had made an agreement that we would alternate calling each other. And I slacked off, right? Like I literally was missing the months I was supposed to call, whatever. And I appreciated it because this is for anyone listening, we're talking about friendships, the woman to woman show on the U Nation Network. This is how I knew that we are like we're sisters, we're friends, right? Because it wasn't nothing when she said, Theo, I'm disappointed because we made this agreement, right? And you haven't been holding up your end of it. And I said, I don't have an excuse. Like I don't even have an excuse, right? Like I'm sorry. I'm sorry, right? And what was so cool about that was she then said, I appreciate that you didn't make an excuse, right?
Nice.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to do better. Like I'm gonna try to do better, right? And literally, it's crazy because I called her yesterday because I was like, I think you missed. I think you missed your month, right? In my head, I think I missed my month, right? So I called her yesterday, and then she called me back today. But I will say, I think for me, that is the importance of the in the friendships that I have, that people don't get offended when I because I can go off the grid, right? And sometimes it's intentional, and sometimes it's just like I'm just busy and I'm in a zone, right? But I appreciate the friends that get it, and either they're gonna text me and say, "Hey, let me know when you have time." But I did appreciate the fact that she wasn't upset or whatever, but she really just said, "I'm disappointed. We made this arrangement." And also for me, the one thing I'm never gonna do to my friends is try to make an excuse. Like I'm gonna own it. I don't even got an excuse. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do, right? So yeah, I would say that's a good question
So,
because
but for you, availability, presence, which do you lean more towards?
what do I lean more towards? You know what? It's funny. I don't know because I feel like I don't really have an expectation of people, right? Like so, I love spending, like I have times when I want to spend time with people, right? And I need presence, right? And then I have times where I would say it's probably more presence, like, but I don't really like. But what's interesting for me is I don't really have expectations of people, so I don't hold people to, like, I don't hold people to. I need you to hear from you. I need you to call me. I need you to do whatever, right? I'm happy if I hear from you. If I don't, I'm not going to take it personally, right? There was a time though when I was younger where I would make a story up in my head. I'd be like, "Oh my God, did I do something? Are they upset with me?" Right? And then as I got older, I just realized, sometimes people just have stuff going on. But I would say it's probably presence. if I had to choose between availability and yeah, I think connecting with people because there are times, and I think that's because I do live alone. So I think just having the opportunity to connect with people is is sometimes just something I need. And then there are times when I need to be left alone.
Yeah, for me, I've learned that for me, I need presence more so than availability,
Hmm.
and I'll tell you why. When my marriage fell apart, my first marriage fell apart, and I had finally gotten to the point where it all came down on me, and I always say it did. It felt like my chest was caving
Hmm.
in. So I purposely called my best friend because I knew she couldn't come running to me.
Mm.
As I'm crying on the phone to her, she's not saying a word. She's listening to me. And that was what I needed.
Mm.
So her presence to me was the most important thing.
Yeah.
It was what I needed. And sometimes that is it. Sometimes you don't need anybody to impart any kind of advice, right?
Yeah.
Give you their words of wisdom, to even say one single word. You just need to know that they're there.
Yep.
So that was more important to me. That still is today more
Yeah.
important to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Regina, I'll take this one. I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Hmm.
Uh, I think presence is important as well.
Hmm.
If I'm talking to someone or we're in the same space together and you're trying to multitask while we're having a conversation, it bothers me, right? So I'm clear that if you and I are talking, if I'm not saying like folding clothes type of the word about folding clothes, but if you're trying to uh build something or you're checking your mail or something like that, well now your mental and your energy you're scanning for something. There's a reason why you're doing that. But if you have to do that while we're talking, well then you go ahead and do that. And when you're done with that and you have time for us to have a conversation, then let me know.
Hmm.
Because I wouldn't do that to another person. That I think is
Yeah.
you're not available.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so you we in the same space but we're not here. So
Hmm.
if we're calling each other, right? And we're saying, okay, we're gonna have a conversation together, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be, but
Hmm.
then I'm like, so hey, did you hear me? Oh no, because sorry, I was no, didn't I? Don't do that. And because our time is precious, right? And we do have other things to do, and we are supposed to value each other. Then do me that favor. If you're preoccupied, then call me when you're not.
Hmm.
Or if I call you and you say, "Oh no, I'm good," but then it's like breaks in between where I'm still talking, but I'm listening for you to respond, and you're not. I'm okay with the fact that you're busy. Just let me know when you're not.
Hmm.
So the presence piece for me is huge because if I'm with you talking and we're talking together, I'm listening.
Hmm.
Respond right, or
Hmm.
maybe I need to respond. Sometimes people quick to have a no. Maybe that's not what they're looking for, or Sheila says. Sometimes I call my girl. I don't want you to always give me advice. Don't try to pray me out. Don't try to. I'm not asking for a coach. I'm asking for my friend. I'm asking for my sister, just to let me express myself. If I can't do that with you right now, then we could talk later.
That's good because yeah, I used to know someone where she would just talk, 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 talk. That I could literally put the phone down and walk away and come back, and she wouldn't even have known I left. I think now presence is important.
I would say both for me. You have to be present and available because um, there's two friends that I have, and one I really need to reach out to, but me, I'm not available for the time because they're talkers.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't have the time. But I know I need to, so I know I have to allot a certain amount of time. But I'm looking at my schedule. I don't have that time for both of them. And so I say that I have to be present, and this is just for me and available.
Mm.
And sometimes if I see them calling me, I'll let it go to voicemail because I know I'm not present and I'm not available. Because it's going to go into, and it's one of those ones where you try to cut in and wait, let me call. And they're just talking, So
But what about you? What do you need? What do you need from people? Do you need them to be present or available?
I don't care.
Or is it
I'm
both?
that kind of person. I don't care.
Okay, so you like me like
I don't care. Because I could care. I don't mean it in a me. That's why I'm just such a different person. Um, when I need someone, I don't even think I really reach out. I don't, or I don't. I don't know. Because
yeah, well, I don't care. It's a good
I don't care because I'm trying to sit there and say, well, I mean, if I do call them and they're not there, or they,
you don't have you don't have an expectation.
Right. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
So Netta, what about you?
Presence.
Okay.
Presence helps me feel supported, valued, and holding. I hold a certain space in your life
Mm-hmm.
that you make yourself available to be present.
Mm-hmm.
So presence for sure. It's a gift because we know how busy life can be.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the roles that we all carry and are responsible for. So when somebody takes that time to truly be present, it's a gift.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like if I'm on the phone with someone and they are constantly having a conversation with someone else, like my one of my cousins is good for this. Like, first of all, he loves to call me when I'm working, right? But then it's like he's having like conversations with all his coworkers, and then I'm like, "Are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else?" Right? So I do agree. Presence is important. So yeah, that was a good question.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good question. So we are at the top of the hour. So any final thoughts, ladies, on friendships? I feel like I want to have a whole conversation around strengths.
Miss Netta.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I know I have two dominant, and I think related was one, but I'm gonna have to look back at them.
Yeah, I have
But
to look back in mine too. I
yeah,
forgot. I have them in my emails. I have to check it.
yeah, I think that would be a good conversation because I think also, and this would be my final thought, right? I think as we age, right, as we get older, I think it's important to have relationships with
Yes.
people that you can count on, that can be supportive. And after you guys watch Straw, we'll talk about it, right? Because I think there's something to having individuals in your life that know you, know how to support you,
Yeah.
know how to show up for you, right? And you also knowing how to do that for them, because as we get older, relationships are important at any time. But I think as we get older, they become more important. At least I believe, because just we're aging, where sometimes you need, like for instance, me being here by myself, right? Like when I had that vertigo attack, right? I was, if I needed to, I could have called my neighbor and said, "Hey, can you run to the store?" Right? I remember living in Jersey when I had a really bad car accident. My neighbor would knock on my door and be like, "Hey, do you need me to get you anything from the store?" Right? So I do think it's important to, whether they're associates, whether they're friends, whether they're sisters, right? That you, people you feel like sisters. Like I have a lot of sister friends that I've been friends with. Like most of my friends, I've been friends with since I was 13 or 18, or like for over 20, 30, 40 years. Right. And so I would say be intentional about cultivating the relationships that are important to you. That would be my final thought. Be intentional about cultivating relationships with those people who are important to you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I would say there's a lot of things to say, but don't expect from others what you're not willing to give.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
I was going to say something very similar to that. Which is, um, ask yourself, are you that friend? Are you that person that's doing the thing that bothers you? Do you do that to others? And honest with yourself, and make the adjustments you need to make, especially if you value that friendship, if you value that sisterhood you have, or that relationship with that person. Ask yourself that question as well. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Netta.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I'm going to say is don't look for numbers. You don't necessarily need to have a whole bunch of friends. Look for those people that have the same mindset that you have
Mm.
and take it from there.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
about the numbers, it's about
Yeah.
the quality of the person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Values and people who share your values.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I would say the same as Sheila, who shares your values. You'll find your tribe. And for me, like I don't have any expectations for people because people are going to be people. I do expect people to respect me because I'm going to respect you, but I I don't I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I just don't expect a lot from people. And I'm not saying it in a negative way, but I just don't.
I mean, but I think that is fair, because sometimes expectations set us up for disappointment,
Mhm.
Hmm.
right? And so,
And as long as you respect me, you respect me. I do demand respect because I'm gonna respect you. Don't disrespect me. That's more
Yeah.
important than me.
yeah, yeah,
But
respect
luckily,
it.
I do have friends that, like, when I'm sick or something, they would check in on me, and likewise. So I guess the friends that I do have, we do check in on each other. We we do things for each other, or so we have the same mindset.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the most important
Mhm.
thing is, like, I think a lot of us have said it, right? People with the same mindset, right?
Mhm.
It's important. Um, I think also just recognizing that people need to accept you as you are, right?
Mhm.
I especially at this point in my life, right? I really want to be my authentic self,
Mhm.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so just
Yeah.
people understand, just for people to understand that. But like I get my godmother. My godmother is, we're the same sign. So like all the time my god sister be like, "You just like your godmother." And I'm like, "Nah, I just get her." Right. I just understand her personality, right? And so I think that's important for people. For me, it's for people to get me. I feel like this. My true friends know my heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that they're not gonna hold stuff against me because they know my heart. So they know, like, if something goes away, like my friend, like that story I told, she knows my heart. So it's not intentional when I fall short. It just sometimes happens. But that's our show. Thank you for tuning in to the Women to Women show on the New You Nation Network. Tonight we were talking about friendships and how they evolve and how distance might play a part in them. And so hopefully you gain something from it. Remember to like and share, right? And come back next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where maybe we'll be talking about stress.
Yep.
I think that'll be an interesting conversation. So until next Monday, have a wonderful week, everyone, and we'll see you then.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Good night.
night.